Hey, what's up? This is Joshua, daily video blog. We're continuing this idea making series. It is gorgeous out in Minneapolis today. I might even record 2 or 3 videos today so that it will make up for what is supposed to be a horrendous, cold, rainy day tomorrow. But who knows, maybe I'll grab an umbrella tomorrow and continue the program. Let's see. So we started off yesterday talking about one of the traits of bad idea making, which is refusing to capture or write down the bad ideas. Essentially refusing to practice, refusing to overdo it in a way. This next one then is going to be, let's assume for the moment that you have decided to write down all your bad ideas and not edit them yet. We're going to bypass the evaluation and editing for a moment, and we're going to talk a little bit about another quality of bad idea making. So a really repetitive conversation that I have with students who have a hard time coming up with ideas is that you will suggest something and they will routinely say, "Oh, you can do that?" And it's not about, say, something that seems technically impossible. Like, it's not saying, oh man, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of something that would actually be technically impossible, and of course I cannot. But it's not like telling them that they're designing a poster and then being like, "Oh, you should make a movie instead of a poster," which, it's not a parameter. Instead, it will be a way of approaching something, a way of thinking about a poster, or a way of thinking about an identity system, or whatever it is. You hear this thing like, "Oh, you can do that." And so what that's a symptom of is assumptions. And typically what I find is those assumptions seem to come from, seem to come from a couple of things. So the first thing is, like, I'm completely guilty of this one, the assumption one. I way too often go into work. Actually, I shouldn't say assumptions, but I'm the kind of person that it helps to see something having been done already. And then once I've seen it, then I realize that it's an option. So that's different than the kind of person, and that kind of fits with my viewpoint of extraction over invention. I'm not good at invention, but I am good at extraction, pulling an idea out of the pre-existing world, or my pre-existing thought process, or my pre-existing creative process, whatever that might be. That's a lot different than being good at invention. Invention is, maybe it's purposeful, or maybe it's just a matter of being able to come up with ideas really well, but I don't think I'm much of an inventor. So for me, it really helps to see something done once already. And once you see it, then you have an awareness of, there's a path, cool. You have an awareness of possibilities that you may not have already had. So once you have an awareness of those possibilities, you can then move past some of your assumptions. Your status quo set of operations expands into something bigger. So there's sort of two things. The first is that you need to expand your inputs. And typically, I think what happens way too often is that people expand their inputs, but they only look at the things everyone else looks at. One of the reasons I'm sort of, like, at least in art and design and whatnot, like a big advocate of having some understanding of history is because you're looking at long periods of time to see what people have tried. Furthermore, you might see unexpected things like technological limitations that once held true that are no longer true, but now become interesting aesthetic decisions. If you think about something as simple as Instagram filters, those are technological limitations of a previous technology or invention being applied to a new one. So by looking through older stuff, you might stumble on certain aesthetic techniques that were just the results of the edges of the tools, but now they're an interesting thing to bring into work. They expand that notion of what's possible. And then along with that is trying to look at as much stuff as possible and get out of the notion of just trying to look at what's cool or what's popular or what's accepted at the moment, but having a kind of wide-ranging variety of inputs from which to gather stuff. The more stuff you see, the more you understand the possibilities that there are to work with. And then, so that's one part. Expand, like, if the way that you work is defined by what you've seen in the world, then expand what you've seen in the world. See more of it. Part two would then be, totally losing my train of thought here. So let's see. Part one, expand what you can see in the world so that you can get past, I can do that. Part two is to lose as much as possible the sense of the rules. So if you're working in a specific discipline or in a specific craft and you're running around with all these rules in your mind, they are limiting the ability to do new or interesting things or make sort of new connections. So for example, like one of the things I've realized is you don't have to do every idea that you have. So therefore, it's okay to have ideas that break the rules anyway, because it might be that once you have a testing mechanism, a way of figuring out what those rules, what those ideas are, how they might work, whether they're sustainable or whatever, then it's going to filter itself out automatically. So it's kind of like capturing the bad ideas. Also capture all the ideas that you can't do. If you're working on like a marketing plan for something and you have a seemingly absurd idea, make a live action movie for a concert, let's say. That's how you're going to promote it. There's no downside to capturing that idea and giving it even a minute of your time to determine, okay, that's a ridiculous idea. What exactly would that look like? Instead of doing the thing of saying, that's a ridiculous idea. No, I'm not writing that down. I'm not even entertaining that. Let in the ridiculous ideas. Let in all the things that you can't do. Furthermore, maybe a good strategy is actually to say, what's every rule about the thing that we're doing? What would it look like if we broke all those rules? Which is certainly where quite a bit of artistic innovation has come from. So that would be the first one. Let go of your assumptions. If you're the kind of person like me who needs to see something in order to understand it's possible, then simply look at more stuff and open up your understanding of what's possible. All right, thanks for watching.